Greetings, weary traveler, come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and tales of Tamriel. I'm your host Arkhaniir, and I'm joined by two of our co-hosts, starting with the founder of the show, Aggelos, who he hoards his gold like a dragon himself. How's it going, Ag?
Doing great, Ark. I want to give a shout out to my dad. Because it is Father's Day on Sunday, and guess what? This is actually really cool. My dad listens to all my shows.
Oh, that's nice.
Really cool.
It's so cool. Like we were doing one of our other podcasts, and I went over to dinner, and he goes, "So why are you going bi-weekly?" I'm like, "How do you know I'm going bi-weekly?" He follows all of our shows and watches all of them. So shout out to my dad. Love you, Dad. You're the best. It's really nice to see how, like, when I was younger, he never really understood my gaming addiction, for greater word. But as you know, as I've gotten older and I'm doing stuff with it, like the network, he's been getting into it. He's been like telling people at work, "Have you checked out my son's channel?" Like it's pretty awesome.
That's
so
great.
Love you, Dad. You're the best. Thank you so much, and happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Zach's dad. Thank you for raising this man, so we got to do this at this point in time. After
we get a cool
20
show
minutes.
because of it.
And the second voice that you just heard is Lotus of Doom, a dedicated follower of Hermos Mora, or Herma Mora because the other name is hard to pronounce, and an
Valid.
absolutely dedicated supporter of the Extra Life charity. So how's it going, Lotus?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing well. I'm sans the camera tonight because I'm not sure why exactly it's not working, but it's not. So instead, you get her.
No, I fixed it completely, so it's fine. It's fine. It's a very valid replacement for your camera.
Yeah.
Why is he an elf?
I was gonna say I feel like
What?
this is elf related. That was way too subtle, and I feel like it's elf related.
I did not plan any of that. I actually don't know what you guys are talking about. I thought you were talking about the... hold on. What is going
I really
on?
like it just says rip camera.
Oh, okay, alright. Still talking about the camera. Because
Yep.
I was like, are they typing something in chat about...
No.
Like-
I actually assumed that this was an opportunity for you to get back at me.
Oh, no, no.
For the
No,
Guardian
I only do that to Aggelos. You don't have anything to worry about.
That's yeah. Well, I figured you might put like a damage horrific. So
No.
which,
I mean, if
which
it
would
was
be a
Aggelos,
sin,
there
so-
would have been a face of an Altmer there, but right now, no, don't worry about it. I like you, Lotus, unlike Aggelos, so everything is fine.
Fair. I can't even argue with that. I'm like, yeah, that's accurate. I do give Ark a hard time. Like, I'll hop into his chat for nothing better to just go, "Hey, nice elf you got there." Just then leave chat immediately afterwards.
on that note, I was going to say, since we're kind of derailing before we started, but on that note, it'll eventually.
This is the banter. This isn't derail. This is introduction. You can.
That's
banter.
that's
It's not
true.
part
That's
of it.
true. That's true. We haven't found the rails, so we can't get off them.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
What do you call it? It was I got the chance to actually was it the other day when I got to watch Ark testing out his necro tank.
Yesterday.
We use the term tank very loosely.
I've seen that from several
Actually,
places.
I mean, you finish your story. Lotus,
It
then
did.
I'll
I was
answer
going to say,
Aggelos.
from what I caught, I mean, it was working relatively effectively. I was actually supposed to be working. I was just really lazy. So I kept going on Twitter. And I was like, "Oh, Ark's live. I'll go in and say hi." I was like, "Man, this is really not making me money right now. I don't know why I'm doing this." But I got to watch you mess around with, I think you were in Depths of Malatar at the time you were fighting the giant Hunger.
Yep.
Oh, you mean the thing that he keeps saying he'll do with me, but then never does? Yeah, I know.
Look, you were supposed to remind me while I was in my holidays so I can wake up in the middle of the night to run dungeons with you. But you didn't. But if you want, tomorrow night, I'll wake up and we'll do dungeons.
Okay.
If you're available,
should.
that is.
I'll be available in the evening.
Alright then. We can do them then. I just have to log into NA and figure out my.
I mean, we're only
build
gonna
there.
do normal for story.
If you do normal for
Alright.
story, you can do it with like a Surreal grape for a hat, and you'll be fine. Like,
Surreal grapes. But no, that's literally the only reason why I want to do it. But I love the stories in the dungeon, but I hate to subject, people who are trying to do it speedily for rewards to go, hold on, guys, here's a note. I'm going to sit here and read this.
I mean, actually, I haven't done the story part of them myself because we just kept burning through everything every time I
You're
ran
running
it,
through people who want to burn through it, so you go through it.
Yeah.
But, then when you run it with me, we could go, hey, here's a note. Let's read it and find out what's going on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Way to introduct the hosts by anything but the hosts. Also, hello chat room, welcome to the live show. And if anyone is listening the recorded version, we are live Friday 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/dungeoncrawler network, where you can witness the pre-show and the way everything goes to absolute fire every time. So yeah, do that if you want to catch us live. But if you can't, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Sound, a bunch of places that I don't even know at this point.
Would you like me to do the spin-off of where people can find us?
At the beginning, as an intro. Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
all right.
why not?
Outro, intro, they're all the same.
YouTube, on our Twitch channel. You can also find us on any RSS feeder, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, Spotify, SoundCloud, and I think we're now on an app called Himalaya.
Solid.
All right. And thank you all so much for joining on this episode of Tales. Just outro and go our ways.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and there we go. And we're done. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on B. And
good show, guys. Loved it. A+, 10 of 10. Would listen again.
That said, with that review entry, we actually have a review to read this show. So this is from May 26. Blame Aggelos for getting this to me this late. And this is by the Neo God. So it's a 5-star review, so thank you very much for that. Outstanding Elder Scrolls podcast. I started playing the Elder Scrolls Online in December of last year, and I have been listening to the podcast since. This podcast has only enhanced my love for the game since I started playing. I am currently on episode 31, plus I have listened to each new episode since episode 192. Isn't that when I became the main host?
Was it that early? I can't remember.
I don't know. Sometime around
I can't
then.
remember.
But I'm glad. Like,
I know
as
we
you
had
said,
been discussing it for a while because it was like even up to episode like 90. No, it was more than that. It was prior to that. I think it was like 175. You and I started discussing it because I was saying how overwhelmed I was, especially with my new job, doing other shows as well. Like it's a lot of work, and you offered to help out, and then you started helping out with editing. And then I said, well, if you're going to do the editing, if you want to help me out with the main hosting, that way you're doing all the producing as well. I could just show up and talk about Elder Scrolls, which would be great. But we had talked about it like several months before you actually took over.
Honestly, the editing and whatnot, it takes time. Like, it's not difficult, but it just takes like plain time because you don't do anything. You click render and then you just wait, and then you click upload and then you just wait.
Speaking of grinding games, well, it's grind in life.
Yeah, it's once you know what you're doing, like the very first times you're doing editing and whatnot, it takes a very long because you have to figure everything. But once you know how you're editing stuff, you have your preset set. It's pretty simple going forward. It's just very monotonous. And
to be fair, with that slip up, with all our technical difficulties, maybe we should get a priest. Maybe it'd help things out.
Honestly, I would be okay
Splash
with
some
that,
holy water on the computers and the connection.
Well, your computer fried, but guess what? No problems anymore.
It's now baptized.
What we need, I think, is somehow a direct routing between us for this call. Because instead of like the usual World Wide Web routing where it goes through a bunch of random places, we just need like something to straight up connect us.
Well, I forget how far away when I mailed you that coin, we did a GPS on how far away you were from me. What do we need? Like 7,800 feet of Ethernet cable? We could just do a hardline connection.
I mean,
Hey, the call cut out. I think a shark bit it.
I mean, we are roughly 7,000 miles apart. So
yeah,
it's. Then again, I heard that Discord is having general problems with other people as well, not just for us.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But in general. But I just haven't been able to find a replacement for Discord. So for the moment, we'll just keep praying.
We need to try that Zoom product. We keep talking about it. We just
it's like what, monthly $40
if it
per
works
host?
for us, I'll pay the monthly cost. I mean, thankfully we have awesome patrons who do help support us, and it does offset a lot of our costs.
Right.
Albeit I just got charged a bunch of money for renewing SSL certs, but hey, whatever. The IT costs. Our patrons really do greatly help offset my own personal cost, but if I couldn't afford it, I wouldn't do it. So if the product works, we can use it, because it's not like it won't go to use anywhere else. I would use it on other shows too. Yeah.
So, you may or may not have an entire network.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
How did we derail in the middle of a...
It's not really a derail. It's actually talking. The reason why I'm even looking at Zoom is because Zoom, it's a little bit more complicated than Discord. But it's actually a solution for video conferencing that you can actually give. I've actually even been looking at it from a work perspective, because it would allow you to do video conferencing calls and stuff like that. The nice part is you can actually have people call in and be audio only participants without messing up the camera setups. So we can have our camera setups. And I don't know if you'd want to do it on this show, but I had thought about doing it on our other shows, allowing our guests to call in and give their opinion.
Yeah, when it's a relevant situation to it. Exactly. I can see this. Yeah, I follow what you're saying.
The thing about that is, like, how do you determine the audio quality, or whether if they're about to troll you or not, before getting them into a call?
Well, the troll thing, you could literally just kick them. It's kind of what you have to do when you're doing that. But one of the best ways is you actually set up a waiting room that has a moderator in there. Right. So you would need another guest host, essentially.
Didn't we try that once upon a time? We had DCN interns to...
DCN interns to do it.
Was it for Tales or another show?
It's more work, but it does produce an interesting show. But you would need someone to get the information, like who they are, what they want to talk about, whether or not their mic sounds at least somewhat decent.
Right.
Yeah. It's work, but it's something that we had considered doing.
Yeah, I mean, we can check it out. Does it have a trial? Like
it does. Actually, it's free for anyone to use, but it has like a 30-minute disconnect for free users.
Yeah, I remember reading it. Yeah, 45 minutes.
And it's not just like redoing calls. You literally have to... It's like Outlook scheduling assistant in order to set up a call. So it's not like, we got kicked off, let's quickly rejoin the call. It would be like 15 minutes of resetting up a call. So it's sort of unfeasible for this show, or pretty much any of our shows, really.
Right.
We'd have to reschedule it like 3 times before a single show.
Oh, yeah. But, that would also make an hour show take an hour and 45 minutes to record.
Yeah.
And then more edit work because you have to cut out the dead air.
Right.
Yeah.
Since we steadily encroach on 2-hour shows, that'll be real fun to deal with.
Yeah, that's like a 6-hour record time for us. Yeah.
Ta-da.
I hope you guys didn't want to do anything ever again, because that's what we're doing.
This is our full-time jobs now.
Honestly, I would do podcasting as a full-time job if I made money off of it.
If I could make the money I do now, I would too, but...
Yeah, it's fun.
Sometimes it ends up being for fun.
that's fine, because then we're not stressed over how are we gonna pay everybody enough money to live.
And we've got to make sure to stay on top of literally all the things. And if for whatever reason there's
there would be none of this. Oh, we don't feel like doing a show because we're
so and so sick.
No,
it's like no, power through it. You keep a puke bucket.
Being sick is at least an excuse. Sometimes I wake up and it's
and
like
you're just
2,
too tired.
3
Yeah,
like,
that massive.
I just message Ag, either you host or just skip the show. I don't know.
I'm dying.
Yeah. At least I slept right after work today.
I saw that.
Yeah, I just came home and I just went to bed and woke up like an hour. Well, now 2 hours ago. So I'm doing fine, which is good. For the first time in a long time, I'm rested throughout this episode. But
that's awesome.
But I really like to finish the rest of this review because that was like only the first part that I got to.
Nailed it. Fantastic.
So I'm currently on episode 31, plus I have listened to each new episode since episode 192. It is crazy how the cast has changed over the 5 years this show has been around. I have loved every second of this podcast, and it is easily one of the best I have ever listened to. Thank you so very much. I look forward to catching up completely and for everything else to come from this podcast. I also must say that I enjoy the constant banter. Well, we are glad that you enjoy it because
we middled around in your review while bantering.
Alongside the lore and tales that are comprised of this show has helped me to pass countless hours at work when I want to be at home playing games. Keep up the great work. Well, we'll definitely try that. Also, one of the previous hosts of the show, Avi Optimal, is in chat as well. He's been a co-host for like 50 episodes before.
Hi, Avi!
Long time. See, there you go, Avi. You got straight up acknowledgement.
I wasn't even reading the thing. So
I know. I made a joke that you were ignoring him.
I'm in the middle of editing shows. Yeah, I'm not paying much attention.
And that's why I knew you wouldn't see it.
All right, so that was the
shout out to Pushland for the Twitch sub. Yeah. Be sure to join our Discord channel because you gain access to all of our shows at least 24 hours before everyone else. So definitely do that.
There you go. And that was our introduction for about 30 minutes. So I called a good introduction.
Glad people keep telling us they like long shows.
Exactly, yeah. So, I guess it's time to start with our news, which there are some good news that we have. So this will indeed be a long episode. But starting with a quick mention, we got featured by MassivelyOP's, that's MassivelyOP.com, Tamriel Infinium, MassivelyOP's guide to the best Elder Scrolls Online podcast, and we are featured there along with our friends from Elder Scrolls Lorecast, Lore Seekers, Written in Uncertainty, and USP podcast. That's our unofficial Elder Scrolls podcast, which I actually haven't got a chance to listen to. But I actually want to read this as well, what MassivelyOP wrote about us.
Yeah, it was pretty amusing.
Yeah. While many of the shows on this list are fairly new, Tales of Tamriel has stood the test of time, releasing over 200 episodes, which this one is 206 and still going strong. Through various iterations of the Elder Scrolls Online and various co-hosts, the show has traditionally focused on, quite simply, the hosts telling the tales of what they've been doing in the game. Until recently, the show was hosted almost exclusively by Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network. Lately though, Aggelos has stepped aside to make room for Arkhaniir and new co-hosts Lotus of Doom and Promethean 99. In addition to the weekly play session recaps, the show also focuses on ESO news and occasional readings from the text contained within the game. To the delight of longtime fans of the show, one constant is the host's ability to derail into an unplanned side conversation that sometimes proves to be the most intriguing part of the episode. Highlights of Tales of Tamriel include the host's banter and constant goading of Arkhaniir about his disdain for both Altmer and Guar. This one's to you guys. See, it's obvious. People are upset that you do that, so stop doing that.
I was going to say, that makes me so proud that I made a difference.
He clearly says that. Highlights of the episode include which part I hate, constant goading of Arkhaniir. Yeah, see, I'm definitely not changing what they wrote.
No, clearly not.
The show is free but includes a Patreon option for listeners who want to download the show early. It runs between 80 and 120 minutes, which is... We tried to confine it to an hour, it didn't work well. It just... it doesn't work well, we feel missing. But thank you so very much for featuring us. And I'm really happy to see all the friends from the other hashtag ESO podcast fam as well. So there you go.
Yeah, there's actually many good podcasts listed in that article.
We're the old dogs.
Yep.
we are at this point slowly
we are
turning into the dinosaurs of the ESO podcast.
Funny enough, as we read the MassivelyOP article, just shout out to Braxwolf in chat. I wonder what he could relate to. It was like it was meant to be on timing.
And people say that we ramble. No, we just know when things are going to happen and just line it up perfectly.
100% planned.
That's the new headcanon.
Alright, so, on to the main news. This is something Aggelos has mentioned many, many times, and it actually finally happened. So, wait. Alright, I just had two links. I was confused. So, Aggelos has been mentioning or saying that how, Blizzard makes cross-game content between its games. So if you play Heroes of the Storm, you get content in World of Warcraft, vice versa, things like that. And that's been something missing from Elder Scrolls with Elder Scrolls Legends and Elder Scrolls Online. However, they are finally doing it. So I'm actually going to read this because I don't remember the dates and details, but this year is all about the Khajiit with both the recent launch of the Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr and the announcement of the Elder Scrolls Legends' latest expansion, Moons of Elsweyr. If you can't wait to take a trip to the native land of Tamriel's Feline folk, we are offering a perfect promotion for you. Play Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr from June 11 to June 24 to receive 15 Moons of Elsweyr packs. That's not cards, that's packs. And an exclusive Dragonstone card back, redeemable in the Elder Scrolls Legends. To be eligible for this offer, you will need to own the Untitled Chapter for the Elder Scrolls Online. If this is your first time playing Legends, you'll also need to register for a Bethesda.net account to claim your reward. Expect to receive your rewards June 27. Just in time for the release of Moons of Elsweyr. It's actually not even a small reward. 15 packs. 15 that's a lot.
Packs.
That's a lot. That's significant.
And the Season of the Dragon backing looks really cool on that card thing.
It had... Honestly, like I need a poster or something of that dragon logo. It's just...
Yeah, that is a again. I basically can never say enough about their art team. Just all around. I'm always like, oh man, because I don't know if you guys noticed that they right before the BE3 presentation, a trademark art landed on a new symbol for Elder Scrolls, and a lot of people weren't sure what it was, myself included. Where it is an vertical Elder Scroll with like these two kind of like side angles around it, and they rebranded Elder Scrolls Legends, so it's actually like a card split down the middle by an Elder Scroll. It just is a really cool looking symbol like that. That's just a cool avatar.
It was a good week of speculation as well, because people thought it was going to be a MOBA because of the way it was set up in like
I am glad it is not that.
Yeah.
It's funny people say that, like, oh, that's not the Elder Scrolls format, blah, blah, blah. You have to remember, the Elder Scrolls has done this in the past. Look at Redguard and Shadowkey. like Redguard was more akin to Tomb Raider than it was
straight
any
up,
others.
Yeah, I was gonna say I suffered through that. That straight up was hey, what if Tomb Raider was programmed with one arm? Boom, you have Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard.
But I mean, to be honest, I've stopped playing MOBA games a long time ago. However, if it was
never
if it was available for Elder Scrolls, I would probably
I
would
give
certainly
it a
try it.
As long as they tied it with other games, like if I played the MOBA, I could get card packs and I could get cosmetics for ESO, because really it all comes back to which game is my main game and can I benefit my main game by playing one of these others?
Yep.
Sure. Which I think that's cool cross branding, and again, this is my favorite IP, so I will certainly give something a try, even if it's not something I like in the end. It's just like, okay, whatever. Then, like, I like Legends. I don't play CCGs, and I'm pretty bad at Legends, but it's just kind of fun, and I earn a bunch of stuff just by like goofing around with it. I lose like a bunch, but I collect the stuff, and then when they release story content, I can blow through the story content because I'm stacked to the rafters with a bunch of loser stuff that I've earned, and I'm like, oh, cool, I get these neat little side stories because of it. It's like, so I still enjoy it.
Right.
Yep. So it was just a new logo for Elder Scrolls Legends, as Lotus said. Now, on to the big news of the past week. There was the Elder Scrolls, or rather Bethesda E3 conference, along with... there was obviously Elder Scrolls content, along with a lot of new games announced by Bethesda, but I'm thinking we are not going to go into everything that they announced, since this is an Elder Scrolls show, but if you want to hear more about the E3 conference, you can listen the Dungeon Crawlers reboot, which Aggelos is editing at the precise moment.
It'll be out on Monday, unless you're one of our supporters, in which case it'll be out by this evening.
Speaking of cross-branding.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, well.
I'm learning.
Hey, and it makes sense. The reason why Blizzard does it is because even if, you're quote-unquote bored with World of Warcraft, for instance, you can then go play Overwatch. You can go play something else. You get rewards for your WoW, and it keeps you kind of within their entire genre, within their own playground. They want you to stay in their playground. So we're doing the same thing.
Yep. Stay in Dungeon Crawler Network. So, obviously, during the Bethesda conference, Matt Firer, the president, took the stage, and he started with the Elsweyr trailer. They made a new cinematic trailer, and it looked absolutely fantastic. To be honest, for all these years, my favorite game cinematics came from Blizzard. That changed with Elder Scrolls Online. They know how to make fantastic trailers. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's
so
insane.
We're going nuts with the when the dragon roared and the Khajiit like hissed back. Oh yeah, that was really cool. Yeah,
that is so many people's avatars and GIFs now on my Twitter feed.
Yep.
I mean, it definitely makes me go, I like this cat.
I will actually in the post edit, I'll see if I can get the video right after when I say this.
No, we need to work on your host game. I've been playing YouTube videos on the dungeon crawlers while we're there as the background image.
But I usually do that. But then I thought, because it's a trailer with no one talking.
You don't need to. I don't play sound. I just let it play in the background.
I was going to say, to be fair, as a podcast listener, before I was on the show, it's kind of funny. I don't know if anybody's heard it yet this week, but the Lore Seekers released their show. Their first 6 minutes of the show are just the sound effects from the trailer because they clearly played it live. It sounds really cool, even without a video to go along with it. It just sounds really cool. It's really not that big of a deal. It's pretty enjoyable even still.
All right, well, okay. Let me
I'm just
get it
making
up.
Ark do more work. That's literally what I'm aiming for.
So, all right, Elder Scrolls Online E3 trailer. There we go. I mean, honestly, how cool is Saisahan?
He's fantastic. I wonder if they've retro. I know some people have killed him.
Me. So, all right. All right. When I originally posted this, it's got a decent amount of responses, including Rich Lambert. So kudos to them for immediately addressing the fact. He's like, "Trust us. We have something in mind for this." And I'm like, "All right, that's fine as long as." But the only thing with me, it was a little surprising, so to speak, because I wasn't even like, "Oh, F this, I'm out." Type of thing. But I saw it, and the first thing I was like, "Wait a minute!" Like everybody else was like freaking out, all hyped, and I was like, what the heck? So I tried to be subtle on Twitter just because it's an open forum and there's so many new players. Well, that was immediately thrown in the trash by the internet. So since spoilers are out the window, granted, you guys have probably played through the main story.
Yeah.
It's old. This forum is fine.
Fair warning for anyone who just started Elder Scrolls Online and haven't completed the main story,
The Soulburst thing.
Yeah, the Soulburst story with the Vestige Prophet, that story. So if you haven't completed that, you can skip a little bit ahead.
Yeah, I'll make this brief.
I'll actually leave a timestamp in the description below to let you know between which times that you need to skip.
Good, because I want to talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah, me too. So, like,
good old you, Ark, with the timestamp. I like that.
Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. And again, I tried to leave it ambiguous. Yeah, I even said, like, in my tweet, it was something along the lines of, like, so that's Sai Sahan. If you've played the main story, this seems weird, and you'll know why. And I figured that leaves it ambiguous. I'm not ruining it for anybody. Followed by 1,000 posts of people like, I killed him. What the hell? I'm like, all right, people. Like, come on. Like, a little subtlety.
Yeah.
But I did as well. I didn't want to kill Sai Sahan because I thought he was awesome.
I wanted to kill Abner Tharn, but you couldn't kill him.
I know.
I wouldn't. Abner Tharn is the last person in there I would kill.
He's
the best.
Sai Sahan, the Vestige, I felt... It would be too... sorry, you're the Vestige. The Prophet.
Yeah.
The Prophet, it would be too easy to let him off. So I wanted him to continue making amends for a while. And Sai just seemed efficient at everything. So I'm like, you know what, dude? You go. If that's what you want, man, I'm gonna allow you the choice because I actually liked him the best. So since he wanted to do it, I was like, you know what? If that's what you want, I'm gonna let you do this. So I was a little thrown off that he was suddenly alive again.
See, I did the Prophet, and even when the Prophet comes back to talk to you, it feels fitting because of who he was. You're like, all right, he has power. He did
some
not
magic
really too worried about it. But Sai, I don't know.
And like, so I never really ended up finishing Hrothgar's story, but I know Prophet shows up at the end of it to give the hint for the next chapter. But he is sort of like a vision, as Lotus said.
Yeah.
He doesn't physically manifest, so it's like, okay, he's somehow projecting his mind, his soul, whatever. He's a moth priest and a mage. Yeah, he may have done something, but Sai Sahan is like full physical form leading the Dragonguard. So he is not just projecting; he actually is there. So
right, and that's kind of what I kind of went into is when I first saw it. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then a few seconds go by, and I go, hey, wait a minute, like it clicked for me that it's like, wait, he was not supposed to be alive any, like you have the option to kill him. So how is he now still here? Like it baffled me, and it still does. Like I'm still kind of like, what?
I mean, some people are like, even I think Avi Optimal tweeted it. Like some people are thinking necromancy, but there is no way. Like if someone raised Sai Sahan,
he's a
with necromancy, he would.
That's anathema to them.
And he's not just a Redguard. He's full traditional. Like he is the Redguard. So if anyone raised him with necromancy, he would probably either go against them and try to kill them, or just jump off a cliff or something. Because
I don't like the necromancy as a thing,
and it's not like he's a zombie, he looks fine.
And that's what kind of makes me wonder if they went back and and because they used the story, they went back and redid the quest line, so you can't pick him. I'm curious if they had done that.
I don't think so. That would be too. Like that would be
seem weird, especially for those who have
retconning
already done it.
Yeah, but they've done that already before in
really?
other not in this. In other games, they've done that where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're not allowed to kill Thrall because he becomes the war chief.
No, I get you, but it's usually you do that before it's decided, as opposed to try to then retrofit it back in. And that's kind of the thing. In this situation, I'm not saying that there's no way to do it. It's just like...
Guys, we're forgetting. We're forgetting. Elder Scrolls has the magic bullet. Dragon Break. We killed one side. This is a Dragon Break side.
I'm still waiting. I'm still under the impression when this game comes to its close, we have been in one giant Dragon Break the entire time. Because so little was known about the interregnum before all this crap happened anyway. And I like the idea of each one of us is a separate thread of time. Like, we're all there, and at the same time, we're all not there. So it explains why there's, currently 13.5 million vestiges as opposed to just one. I think it'd be neat if that was somehow story tied together. But like I said, I'm just curious to see what this is, because I like the thing with the dragons that we discussed that was like a big issue originally. I don't mind doing something. Like, it's their story to tell me.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea of it being overused. Don't make there 10 billion dragons. Which there are a bunch, but we'll see. I still have to play through the story.
I haven't.
Don't make necromancy the fallback for too many things, is all I just see. That's the only concern I had, which, again, I'm very much wait and see, and I'll complain if it's something I complain about. And if it's not, great. So far, I've loved their storytelling. So bring it on. Show me what you got.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think they will use necromancy, because Rich said, like, okay, it will be something that you'll be okay with. Not, okay, it's the most obvious thing. So I don't think it will be the most obvious thing, which is necromancy. I don't know. They could see. So every time there's a zone DLC, they usually tie it to the next chapter somehow, right?
Right.
So they might tie it to, I don't know, another very, very Daedric or Aedric thing that allowed... I mean, we used the Amulet of Kings to defeat Molag Bal by sacrificing whoever, in this case Sai Sahan. We are assuming it's Sai Sahan. So maybe we use the Amulet of Kings to bring him back. He's stuck in Amulet. I don't know. There's. I guess we'll see. So one thing though. So James in chat said, "Does this mean Lyris might come back?" I think this means that all of the companions will eventually make an appearance somehow, one way or the other. And I think the next chapter might finally be Skyrim related and tied to Lyris because of Sai Sahan's and Lyris' relation.
That I could see that. And then we bring back the sweet Nord hero. We get Markarth and Whiterun. He curb stomps the other two crappy heroes. And the Ebonheart pack wins.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds good to me.
Yep. You're welcome, Zoss. Send my check over for the writing.
I'll DM you my address. Yeah.
But the College of Winterhold could also be involved with something like that, and cough, cough, maybe finally spellcrafting gets taken from the whiteboard to the game. And
I've been really wanting College of Winterhold. I've been really wanting College of Winterhold. That would be a neat
connection. I heard that somewhere else too, and I kind of agree with it. It's like that would be very cool to have that integrate, like, if it actually happens. Actually, that might have been us last episode.
Yes. Actually, now that we talked about spellcrafting and Winterhold, we actually got an email that has a question about that. So I'm going to read the email right in the middle of this section, so that we can continue talking about the spellcrafting and Winterhold. So this is from Colin Lee. Love the show and idea for spellcrafting. Hey everyone, first I want to say I'm a huge fan of the show. As soon as I see that a new episode has released on my podcast app, I instantly queued up. It was actually because of this podcast that I got back into ESO. I played ESO first in beta, then at launch, then randomly a couple years ago, and now I'm back picking it back up with Elsweyr. I actually discovered this podcast randomly while looking for other podcasts for previous game I was playing, Star Wars The Old Republic. Your guys' tales, friendship, and love for the game and lore is what really got me hooked again, and I'm so happy to be back in Tamriel rediscovering everything I loved about the game. So thank you for making such an amazing podcast that I look forward to every week. Well, thank you so very much. See,
Aw. I'm glad you enjoy.
Yeah, the review
Indeed.
and then MassivelyOP and then this email this week. It's why I'm rested for this episode. I
Right?
got too excited. I like for the entire week. I was like, we gotta get to Friday so we can record a show.
Was this where we tell them this is the last episode? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Kidding.
Dark.
No,
I
it's
mean,
the
I
next
like
episode
Macabre
that we
Huber
tell
as
them.
much as anyone, but dang.
No, we are not going anywhere yet. Even if Aggelos like forces us, like I'm closing Tales of Tamriel, I'm gonna start my bootleg Tales of Tamriel.
Tales in Tamriel with a
Yeah,
much more
yeah.
risque abbreviation.
On this past week's episode, you guys talked about spellcrafting being a possible class/option in the future, and I had an idea that I wanted to hear you guys' options on. What if spellcrafting was its own skill line like Psijic or Werewolf, but acted like how the Invoker's abilities work in Dota 2? In case you don't know how he works or haven't played the game, the Invoker Hero has 3 abilities that do the individual things on their own, from buffing attack speed to increasing health regeneration and an ultimate ability. His ultimate ability depends on what the last 3 spells he cast were to invoke, any ultimate depending on what the situation called for. So for Elder Scrolls Online, you would have 5 base spells, and in order to slot the ultimate, you would need to have at least 3 of those spells on your bar, essentially forcing you to adapt your rotation to craft an ultimate that would best suit that situation. Obviously, there would be insane balancing issues, even removing the idea of having morphs for each ability, but I think technically it can be done. Would this be a workable solution for introducing spellcrafting into a dynamic world like Elder Scrolls Online? Again, thanks for creating such a fun and immersive show for all of us to enjoy. It's clear that Elder Scrolls Online has an amazing community, and I'm glad to be joining it once again. Happy hunting, everyone. Well, we are glad to have you back, Colin Lee. Thanks so very much for that email. So, the idea of your skills, depending on the combination, crafting an ultimate. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it can be done, or can
I
ESO
do, and I
handle
honestly
such a
think
combination?
that was the premise of spell crafting. It was taking spells that you may already have and almost providing like a third augmentation.
Right.
So you could have
Didn't they... Well,
one of 2 morphs essentially for your skills, or you could use the spell crafting morph.
oh, so spellcrafting has its own morph.
I think it is its own morph, because one of the examples that Nick Conkle used was the idea of summoning the Flame Atronach. Like, okay, you have a Storm Atronach on your Sork. It could then become a Flame Atronach, and now it's,
But
has
didn't
different abilities.
Wasn't there like you gather runes and use them like consumables?
Yeah,
Something like that.
There was something about the idea of collecting tablets, kind of
Yeah.
like the way you do with the enchanting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting.
Then again,
Well, that's honestly, that's probably going to end up being. I almost want to say, not just a. I think it'll be a one-time thing. I think it'll be closer to what they did with what was that annoying game with the Psijics where you had to go find the rifts in time.
The Elder Scrolls
Remember,
Online?
we had to go close the fissures,
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
once you did it, you unlocked.
I haven't done
That's
it yet.
how you. I have a feeling that's how you're gonna level up the skill line. It's not a renewable resource.
Okay,
You
I
have to
got-
go close them, and then that's how you level it up. Kind of like finding the mage books for,
Mage's Guild.
the mage guild.
But
Huh.
I mean, what I understood was that, for example, you said changing Storm Atronak to Flame Atronak. To make that, you need to get a combination of certain tablets. So imagine enchanting. So you combine like Rekuda, Tora, whatever the names are, Okode.
Sure.
So like that, you'll get like the combinations that will change your Storm Atronak to Flame Atronak, sort of thing. That's how I thought the system was going to work. So for each spell that you want to craft, you would need to get certain combinations of tablets, combine them. It would give you, I don't know, a consumable or whatever, and then when you use that, you craft your spell, sort of thing. Is how I thought it was going to work.
I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I don't know, because like, obviously they can't really use any of this they've given us prior, as they've seen what we do when we're given that type of power. And in an MMO, you need to keep things much more balanced than in a single player game where you can do whatever you want. So like, how we get spell crafting, so to speak, without it being super open-ended, I'm really kind of curious. I mean, no matter what, it has to be somewhat stunted, just for logistics reasons, because they can't just let you do anything, because again, you can just run amok. So it'd be kind of interesting if it's kind of like almost like a plug each of the parts of this spell together to make a spell type of deal. That's an interesting concept to possibly how they could make it work or something like that.
Yep. I mean,
or like you said, leveling up a skill line that like allows access to it. Like that's another. Any of these I could see being a potential with enough thought being put into them, so that it's like, okay, yeah, you're leveling this up on skill line. Because I mean, prior to Necromancy coming out, I made it pretty clear I did not want a Necromancer class. I know I'm in the minority. I wanted a Necromancer skill line.
Yeah,
because I don't
was
play
the
multiple
same way.
characters.
Yeah.
I would love the ability to use some of those necromantic powers.
My God. Imagine my Dragon Knight tank, but with the Bongolite ultimate.
Imagine what I could
do.
do. I don't need
I
DPS
actually-
at that point. I'll just do it myself.
I actually wish that they would have done that from the start, where you could unlock the different, like you could mix and match spell lines and stuff like that. Like I could have a Dragon Knight, Sorcerer, whatever skill lines I wanted, and use the skills as you go. It
Honestly,
would really only be limited by skill points.
at one point I think like, okay, that would be a balancing nightmare, but then I think that would actually solve the balancing nightmare, because everybody would have access to every skill line.
Right, to everything.
Yeah.
So I actually,
And then
I
they
mean,
would also see, they'd have the information going, wow, every single person is using reflective scales. It's obviously needs to be nerfed back down, like...
yeah. I don't know. I mean,
It would change the meta a lot.
It would be a different game. So maybe 5 years from now, Elder Scrolls Online 2 will.
Oh God, yeah, it comes out right after Skyrim too.
yeah.
I thought we were higher up than that now.
I mean, well, think about it. Skyrim 2 is coming to Tesla cars
That's true.
right.
because
Play on the license plate.
yeah. I mean, Elon Musk and Todd Howard sat down at Bethesda E3 conference,
I
and
didn't
that
get to
could
see
only
that.
mean
I was let down.
Yeah, I haven't got to listen to it. I didn't catch it live, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. But I don't need to, because it's obvious. Skyrim 3 on Tesla automobiles, so you can play Skyrim while driving somewhere. So
Seems
It's fair.
accurate.
hold on to your money, people, because you'll need to spend it very, very
Yep.
soon.
Gonna need to buy a Tesla to get the new version.
Yeah, I mean, no, it will just be like, so if you buy Skyrim again, if it's your 7th time, they
it
will
comes
give you
with
a
a Tesla?
Yeah.
It comes with a
Comes with a Tesla.
Wow.
Sweet. That is a good deal.
Yeah.
I'm telling
And for the
you.
next year, like if you buy the next year's Skyrim edition, Elon Musk puts you on a rocket and sends you off to Mars because enough is enough. Like
Or he
don't
sends you to
deserve-
the moon. Yeah, he sends you to the moon. Try to reenact Yoda.
All right, so anybody has anything else to add to the spellcrafting?
I'll be
I think we've
frank
got a
with ya,
while still.
I don't think
Yeah.
it'll ever
Oh.
see the light of day.
No,
think-
Honestly,
yes.
I don't. I think it's off the board now.
Yeah,
But,
it might still
like-
be on the whiteboard, but will it ever get off the whiteboard? Because I feel like that's one of those things that might be cool. I mean, I don't know programming. It's certainly not at the level that anybody at ZOS does. And they seem, controversy or not, when they add new features or features, they definitely do things in a way that seems to benefit the game.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that they can benefit the game doing that. It might be neat, but it also might just break apart at the seams.
Yeah. Now that thinking about it, it's very prone to breaking everything balance-wise and stability-wise.
I think you guys are giving a little bit too much credit to it. We've already seen in the past, anytime they've added new skill lines. Look at the freaking what is it, the Mystic or not the Mystic, the
Psijic?
Psijic Order. How many people actually use skills in their builds? How many endgame builds actually use anything from the Psijics at all?
There's a
Tanks
couple
use the
tank
meditate.
Maybe.
You can. That's the point. You can. So either, and to that extent, I also agree. It will either be game breaking or so watered down it doesn't matter.
Then only people with weird random builds are the people messing around with.
Yes, I'm going to use this to. I mean, on the flip side, I would then be like, "Look, I have all the things and do it, and then reuse them." But just to say, I have them.
The enhanced weapon or whatever it is, it essentially adds extra damage to your light attack.
Yeah.
There's only one class that can utilize it, and that's like the sorcerer. And even then, it's like, yeah, this is really a gimmick build. Like, we're the only ones who actually can make it so it's not a DPS loss, but you're far from optimal. Like, you're not going to get into endgame trial guild with this build. You know?
Yeah, some people no, and that's just it. A couple of people in chat actually have mentioned there's certain bits here, like Mageblade does, and there are a few because, like, funny enough, I tend to not like them as much as my alternatives, but I've got a couple for specific scenarios I could use. One, I mean, it was a while back. Again, this is on the PvP side of things, though. Sieging Keeps, when Time Stop first came out, was infuriating because I think I was time stopped so people could dump oil on the front gates while I was going through with the ram. And I was like, I'm not going to play this until either I'm dead or 9 minutes passes from all these goddamn time stops that I've been hit with.
Right.
Which, again, that was changed, obviously. But yeah, imbue weapons, I know can have potential, although since I'm a Dragon Knight, I believe it's Molten Armaments.
Yeah. You have a class variant.
Correct. So, again, to me, it doesn't matter.
No, but
Even
here's
though
the
there
thing.
is a-
Here's the thing. If you use molten armaments, you use the you lose the either major brutality or major sorcery from igneous weapons.
Thank you.
Or whatever.
So I always call it Molten Armaments, and it's always the one that I.
By the way, Lotus, you are cutting off, so let's restart the call because
Am I
we
getting
are
all
over
weird?
1 hour mark and Discord is being weird again. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Do I sound
Alright.
better? Do I sound worse?
Sound
try
better
turn
at
your
the moment.
camera
I
on.
hope we do not experience
man.
it again. I hope it restarts the entire call, but right, so
No.
igneous weapons
No.
versus molten armaments.
Yes. So that was just it, I guess, before I got all robot-y and weird because Discord. Yeah, I actually always say molten armaments, and I always mean the other one. Just because molten armaments is a way more recognizable name. Molten armaments, by what I remember, is actually not something I really like. It's the other one that I use.
So molten armaments is the one that gives 40% damage bonus to your next heavy attack, or your heavy attacks.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not me because I don't care about my damage.
Yeah. In PvP, it's solid though. Like your heavy attacks are hitting very hard.
But I use it for the team buff for the people anyway.
Yeah.
So it's,
in dungeons, it's not really that important. Yeah. So wait, imbue weapons, does that give major brutality and major sorcery then? Is that what it does?
I am actually not. I have it because I remember messing around
tanks
with it, and I went back. So that's why I'm like, I don't remember. But yeah, so like, again, case in point, there are definitely some options for bits and pieces of it, but you're not really going to get that much more out of it. And again, there's ways to make a lot of stuff work. I mean, up until recently, I have never really been a meta tank. And now, I mean, if you look at Alcast builds and stuff, I forget who told me. They were like, hey, look, Nord's actually considered the meta for tanking. And I'm like, what? I was like, holy, well, that's a first. I was like,
yeah.
I'm a little like, huh?
Yeah, the amount of times I've been told you're doing it wrong for quite a while. Was like, well, whatever, I want to be a Nord Dragon Knight tank. And it was like the Dragon Knight part was really the only part that people were like, yeah, okay, you got one, I guess.
People would ask me, is like, what race you play? I'm like, Nord. And they're like, oh, is that good? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, for tanking, they are now, because 4K resistances plus ultimate regeneration.
That ultimate regeneration is, oh my god, it's so good, and it's so obnoxious in Battleground. I'm just like, hey, it's Dragon Leap, just kidding, Dragon Leap, just kidding, done not Dragon Leap.
So yeah, what were we talking about?
Crap, I was gonna try to fudge our way out of that without asking that exact question.
Sounds like I should have let Lotus be the main host. He's trying to figure out ways of going, we'll tie that together.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to dig myself. Oh, we were talking about spellcrafting because we got off on tangents. So
right, okay, but before spellcrafting, we were actually talking about the Bethesda E3 conference and Elder Scrolls Online.
Right.
And Winterhold being possibly the next chapter.
So if we rewind even more, it's because we were about the companions.
Yeah, and if you go back a little bit more, we were doing the pre-show. Let's end the show for
Yeah.
Well, no.
And starting our new episode of Tales.
It's because we were talking about we started E3, but you wanted to do the letter because it was poignant to where we were. Yeah. So
I thought I would be able to tie it back in properly, like I tied into the
you tied
email,
it into the show. We just didn't tie it back.
Yeah. It tied into a new derailment.
Okay, well, so in that trailer we see Sai Sahan leading the Dragonguard. And the next zone DLC, next story DLC for Elder Scrolls Online will be, I forgot the name, the Dragonhold. And it's apparently about the Dragonguard, which makes sense since the Dragonguards are the, Dragon Hunters. Although their name is Dragonguard, they just hunt dragons. I don't know why. But yeah, so our next zone is that, and I'm actually quite
guard because they were the guard of the heir of the empire, who was said to be dragonborn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense. Yep. So I'm actually excited about that because Dragonguard always fancied me in terms of like a faction or a guild, whatever you want to call them. and being led by Sai Sahan, who looks absolutely fantastic in the trailer. I mean, that mustache and beard, if I had that, oh man, that is
legendary.
Yeah. It's not like the Nordic, scruffy but barbaric beard either. It's very well taken.
Waxed that beard to perfection.
Yeah. It looks. I mean, even in the trailers and like the pictures, it looks soft. Like it's a good beard.
Well, that art team is like. I love those blue trailers.
It's a shame that I won't ever get a beard like that. But
I know. Yeah.
I'll make do with my hair.
Well, don't get too attached to that either, because I used to have long hair too. But
I'm doing my best to hold on to my hair.
When I was your age, son.
Well, at least if it takes my hair, at least give me a beard. Just take it from my head into my face.
I wasn't ever able to grow a beard until I started losing my hair. So,
that's interesting.
It just shifts down, really.
Too much weight on that hair, and it slowly
drops
moves to your face.
That's right. Yeah, because even this beard isn't even all the way full. Like, it still doesn't grow in here. Yeah. But I couldn't even do this until I started losing my hair on top of my head.
That's pretty funny.
And the next DLC, another DLC. So Season of the Dragon will obviously have 2 more DLCs. So one will be the Zone story with Dragonhold, and the other one is the Scalebreaker as the dungeon DLC. So those are the 2 DLCs that we'll be getting for the rest of 2019.
And I assume with the dungeon one we kind of mentioned last time, that one will probably involve some type of pretty decent quality of life mix-in, like they tend to do with the dungeon ones, which I like. So. It's like dungeons aren't that big, but they have plenty of replay value in them. But as a result, it's like, okay, well, here's your quality of life stuff to go along with a smaller content, and then your bigger contents, it's just your bigger contents. Yeah. I like the cadence of that. That's pretty good.
So yeah, that was the Elder Scrolls Online related news from E3. There's also a new coin that was only sold in E3, the Necromancer Coin. It's, my god. It's so beautiful.
It's very cool looking, and I may or may not have gotten one sent to me. We'll find out next time.
Dude. Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about getting someone to do that, but living in Turkey, it could get lost or whatever.
It was less aggressive sending you the Elsweyr one than I expected.
Yeah. I mean, we got lucky though. So, for example, Ophelia Noir, Nika, our Drunkmore's guild leader, so she gives coins to her subscribers. So, like at 6 months, at 1 year, 2 year, you get coins. So there, she has these. Yeah, she has these special collectibles that she sends to you. The first one came alright. It's a pin of the Beepus, but when she sent the 1 year coin, it just got lost. It never arrived. It never got returned. So I don't know where it is. She doesn't know where it is. So I thought.
Definitely a problem when I was at the post office sending you the coin and the, I don't know what you call that thing that attaches to a phone from Legends or Blades or whatever it was. But like they were like, yeah, we don't offer tracking. I'm like, so how do I know if it gets there? They're like, this is going to sound awful, but you don't. Hopefully it just does. I'm like, that's reassuring. Thanks. It's like,
so wonderful. Yeah. Between you and I, like if even if it didn't arrive, it would have been fine by me.
Sure.
Like if I got someone to pay $20 for a Necromancer coin and then shipping, and then it doesn't arrive, and then they go through all that trouble, and it's like I didn't want to.
Yeah, that would just be super lame in the end. It's just like, well, what a waste of time and money. That thing. Is like I was just like SOS. Can anybody help me with this? I cannot go to E3. That is not a thing in my car.
So actually, Rennie Penny on Twitter, she's one of the ESO fam, and she was like, "Did anybody hook you up with a Necromancer coin? If not, I'm going back to E3 today, and I can see if they still have one." And for a moment, I was like, "Yeah," and then I thought, "Okay, let's not." See, I messaged her back like, "I live in Turkey and." Sending it here is a bit of a trouble, and it can always get lost in the mail. So
funny enough,
really do that.
She is the one who I was basically going to mention. Because I'm pretty sure she managed to procure one for me. She was like, okay, she's like, what's your address? I was like, oh yes. I was like, booyah.
And in your case, it's difficult for me to pay anyone because we don't have PayPal at the moment.
Exactly.
Now, in your case, I can just donate to Extra Life. But
which was super convenient. I'm like, yep, just give it a charity. It's fine. It goes to a good cause. So, boom, done.
But if someone was like, okay, give me cash, I'm like, how do I even do that? How do you send cash to US?
This is just one side of the US to the other side of the US. So it's like we're skipping 4 time zones. It's not the end of the world.
So James Stein says, so someone at the postal hub in Turkey has some sweets back. To be honest, I'm like, how does it get lost? My only theory is they see these collectible stuff and they assume it's something very valuable and like, okay, this doesn't have tracking, so they have absolutely no way of tracking
this is mine
tied
now.
back to me. And this is mine now. Like, how else?
I'll tell you this one. That does happen a lot. Even in here with high security related stuff, I used to work at UPS years ago, and they actually hired security guards and stuff because when packages would come through, essentially what would happen, they have insurance out the rear end, and the people know that. If they see boxes with names they recognize, I've seen people break the boxes open, grab what was out of it, and then mark the box as being damaged in transit. It gets sent. Well, honestly, it doesn't even do that. The UPS just pays the vendor going, yeah, we broke your package, and just send another one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not good. But
that
people
is
do
grimy.
We've actually had people arrested for it too, because it's theft. It really is.
Yeah, that's just straight up theft. Yeah,
it's straight up theft. But because of the amount of packages that UPS ships, they break all the time. Legitly, they break all the time. They get caught in a conveyor belt, stuff like that. That's why they have the insurance. Most people don't investigate it because it's not really that, 99% of the time, it's not malicious. It legitly broke. But I've seen people do that where they'd see Samsung or Apple on the tag, and they'll break it open because they knew it was an iPhone. They knew it was a Galaxy. Yeah, it's crappy. But yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, unless it has tracking. So every package I had, every package that I ordered with tracking arrived safely. 2 of my packages that didn't have tracking just got lost. So I'm thinking they just don't care. I don't know, even if they don't steal, because one of them was a very simple painting, like very simple hand painted, like this size, very small size, like watercolored or acrylic painting. That was it. And like, why would you take that? It has absolutely zero value other than what's the word? Not physical value. Yes, there we go. Like, why? So I just assume they get lost.
I mean, it very well could have been something people were like, "Wow, that's kind of neat. I like it," even though it doesn't have like this. I like this. I want this. Yeah.
But
it is what it is. I mean,
it sucks that people do that stuff.
Right.
I mean, from now on, I'm just gonna tell people like, okay, if you can send it with tracking, I'm gonna pay. Doesn't matter. Just as long as it arrives, I'm gonna pay for the tracking extra cost if there is extra cost. But yeah, we got lucky with the Elsweyr coin for sure. I really wasn't sure if it was ever going to arrive,
either,
but
because
it did,
your
and it's
addresses
beautiful.
are also very different than the way
Yeah,
they work
yeah.
in the States. So the guy handed me that envelope and was like,
Yeah.
all right, so just put the thing here. And I'm like, okie dokie. And I think when I was on line 7, I was running out of it. I was like, he's like, just kind of put it at like an angle down there and you can just, I'm like, oh, this is never going to find Ark.
I did the exact same thing when I first put it through. I'm like, I don't know where this line is supposed to go. Yeah, been there.
Yeah. So it was just, it was a funny experience.
Once it enters Turkey, they know what to do with that address.
That's
But
what
for anyone else, it looks like
go on the
gibberish.
correct cargo plane. That's all I want.
But yeah, we have like numbers, lines, slashes. That's like that slash doesn't just separate. So it actually means something.
Oh, does it really?
Wasn't there a semicolon too? I feel like there was a semicolon.
I
may
like
have
the two
used
dots.
it. Yeah.
I don't know. I was very confused, but I just mimicked exactly what you put in Discord. I was like, I have to get it exactly right.
So there's like the street number, then like neighbor number, then street number, then a separator, and then you have the building number and the flat number,
my Lord.
and then you have the like region in the city, and then city, and then postcode. It's like
you can't possibly have that many people to warrant that complex
That's
of
insane. We have city, state, address, zip code.
Yeah.
That's literally.
Well,
and if you live in an
that's the
apartment,
thing,
you put the apartment number.
Our address is made up of the neighborhood,
all the
street,
things. Yes,
numbers.
Our address is literally the
that's
street
your
name
address.
and the number.
Well, we have like several cities or whatever have the same street names, or like
Well,
even
so do
within
we.
the same city.
Yeah, we do too, much to the chagrin of some situations where like there's a place by the beach that's named after the town I was born in, but they're not that far away. So like, why would you do this? Like, what were you thinking?
So, for example, my street doesn't have a name; it has a number. So it's 2025/9. That's what my street is. It doesn't have a name.
Interesting.
It is what it is. All right, Tales time actually, because
Address talk is now behind us.
Yeah.
Hope everyone learned something there.
Basically, don't send anything to Turkey. That's
Fair enough.
that's the lesson.
I
you
mean,
get
that's
from
what I
this.
got away from it. I
Yeah.
did it one time. It's like done. That experience was not worth it.
All right, so I'll start because mine is short. I took my Necromancer tank along with 3 Drunkenborns, all DPS, through Ratstone Veteran Dungeons. It went well. We only wiped like 2-3 times at each boss, and we eventually got through all of them. Not our best performance, but considering we didn't have a healer, and Ratstone Dungeons are very difficult, and that I'm not used to my Necromancer tank, I think it was okay, but there's definitely room to grow there.
And the 3 DPS approach to those, I've done it with the standard setup and with all DPS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically it's a little faster or whatever, but like survival is definitely a little trickier in that dungeon. The only thing that was like kind of, I assume you guys, what's the Aliad who separates into a bunch of versions of himself? You're supposed to heal.
High Kinlord, something like that.
You know what I'm
some
talking
Aliad,
about.
yeah.
So that at first we were like, this is super weird without a healer because you're person to prevent that. But when people just went all in on nuking the dude, it was like, okay, never mind. This is just way more efficient.
I initially thought the same. I was like, okay, how are we gonna do this? We can't heal the Khajiit or Redguard there, but then they said like, okay, we'll just focus someone and they'll die, and it actually it was a lot easier than when we had a healer in that fight.
Yes. Whereas the Frostvault Guardian, the like half a Colossus with the skeeter
lasers,
I actually prefer that with a healer.
Oh yeah, that
fight is I actually find pretty obnoxious with 3 DPS. I was like, this is like. I mean,
it
works. You can do
for
it,
us, but if you get hit by that, so every time you destroy an arm, it summons that dwarven
Colossus.
Centaurian.
The Centurion,
and it has that one attack which deals, well, it kills you, so you have to dodge roll.
It's outrageously high damage.
Yeah, so in that chaos, if you miss that dodge roll, you'll get smacked. So yeah, but as I said, I mean, even with my I'm missing all of Fighters Guild skills, passives. I don't have any Undaunted passives. I don't have some of the skills that I need, and even then, we only wiped a couple times at bosses, so I think it went well, and I think Necrotank has a it's promising, but I don't think any class will ever be as tanky feeling as the Dragon Knight. It's just not the same. Also, resources are always an issue, because with Dragon Knight, you always get back resources from your ultimates, but none of the
I think you're just spoiled from the fact that Dragon Knight's literally like the only class that gets that.
I am so spoiled from that.
Yeah, when I played as a Dragon Knight for 5 years, of course I'm spoiled.
Yeah, same. When I mess with other, because I've made a Stam Necromancer DPS just to learn how they work.
Yeah,
and I've just been running loops in Orcrest or whatever with a bunch of people while trying to get the pieces, and that's just it. Just like, ooh, Bone Colossus Ultimate. Oh, right, I don't get my resources back.
Yeah.
It's like, it is. It's like, oh man, it's such an awesome thing to get used to, but man, it's like, wow, that feels so different playing another class.
There are better resource regenerators out there, like the Templar Spears. The problem is you can't use your own.
You can't use your own spears, I know.
Yeah, so it's self-sufficient. You guys have a self-sufficiency that no other class does.
Well, see, when you have a healer, it's not a problem. But when you don't have a healer...
Templar throwing spears. So.
Yeah. But when you are 3 DPS 1 tank and you are not a Dragon Knight, your resources are draining. It's going away because you are healing yourself, you are healing others, you are trying to stay alive. There is no one to give you resources back. You can't get resources back. And
welcome to every other tank in the game.
No, but see, when you have a healer, this is not an issue.
No. Yeah, okay, so when you're playing the game the way they want you to play it, yeah, it's not an issue. I agree with this.
But I don't play the game the way they want me to.
See, there you
go. So that's my tales for the moment.
I'll go next.
I was going to say, can Ag go? Because I was sad we didn't get to his call last time, so I kind of want to hear yours.
I don't have a whole lot either, because obviously
I know,
I've been doing...
But the recap of Murkmire.
Let me pull up my thing. So, okay. We'll start with the, as I said, stupid quest in Brightthroat Village bugged. Okay, I don't know. Murkmire's been out for how long now? A very long time.
Yeah.
Last fall.
Okay, so there is
Almost
I don't know.
year.
Maybe it broke in a patch sometime later. I'm not really sure. But essentially, what the issue is there's one quest where you have to go find, I'm trying to remember what it is you have to find. But it leads you to a watchtower outside of Brightthroat Village, okay?
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but the floor is bugged out. So when you're running to go investigate the items, I remember what it is. It's part of this whole thing I talked about earlier, which I don't have here. It's part of the helping the Argonians get it on. So I erect the spine of procreation. you have to go find a lady's like, I don't like this. This one person stole the items I had, and they're like, well, they didn't really steal them. They just, are holding them for you while you go bang it out. Because there's no better term here than exactly what I said, because that's exactly what you're helping them do. But apparently they've had issues with the Root People tribe, because the Root People tribe don't make anything for themselves. They believe the Hiss only job, or the only real thing for them, and everyone else's purpose is for them to make things so that the Root People can steal it. Okay. Because anytime they want something, they just I just take it, and they're like, well, that's stealing. No. The Hiss want us to do this. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. No, they do. This is exactly what the Hiss created all the other tribes for, in order to serve us.
Wow.
All right. That doesn't... No, it's cool. So
talk about
the
megalomania.
Arkhaniir wised up and was like, well, if the people are keep going to do this, then what we're going to do is we're just going to hide everything. So you have to go find her notes, because she hid it all over Bright Throat Village, so that way she could find her way to where the cache was, which ironically is just in the box right next to it.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah, you circle the entire village just to go back in, and
ESO does that every now and then, and it just annoys me. Every now and then they do it. Every now and then, the thing that you are supposed to find, the secret thing, turns out to be there,
right next.
Yeah,
to
6
it.
inches away from where you started.
Oh, by the way, if you just would have looked to your left, it was laying right there. In fact, you actually had to pick it up and move it to get to my hidden note. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was... Really? But yeah, so that was a thing. But anyway, when you go to jump over this, the floor is bugged, so you kept falling through. So you have to kind of jump to the rug, because it counts as another object. So it floats in the air. And then you have to jump to a barrel, because it floats in the air. And it became a jumping puzzle. But if you know anything about ESO, it wasn't built to be a jumping puzzle game. The jumping is clunky at best. So
for you, because I spent at least half my game time trying to jump on things, I'm sure I would have nailed that quest.
Look,
you probably
get
would
good.
have.
Maybe. Ark, have you ever tried the cooling your heels achievement?
Which one is that?
Complete Bloodroot Forge without ever touching the rocks.
Yes. Yes, I have it.
That is infuriating, especially as a tank. Because, oh my god, the input delay on those jumps is just soul crushing.
And the worst part is when you fall, you're on the bottom of a cliff. So you have to hike all the way around the village.
No.
It's like a 15-second walk to get back, which 15 seconds, who cares? It's 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, when you do it 50 times, 15 seconds gets real annoying real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I did manage to actually finish it by getting on my horse. Oh, and then jumping, and because the horse jumps farther, and then having to immediately stop. I had to time it. So I jumped on the horse and then hit my dismount key so I would drop on the barrel. Otherwise, I went over the edge.
Solid.
It was a real pain in the it was not.
Well, at least you managed it somehow.
I love jumping puzzles. I play them in Guild Wars 2 all the time. I love them. They're great. But Guild Wars 2, they spent time on the jumping because they wanted it to be an integral part of the game. So their jumping felt real responsive. Whereas this particular game,
it has jumping.
It has jumping. That's the perfect way. It has jumping, but it is not by any means good. I guess is the best way to describe it. It's not great. So I fought with that, and it took me a while, and it is a thing. Then I also helped all those Argonians get it on, because why wouldn't I, right? Let's get it on. That was the weirdest quest. I think I even had to tweet about it later, just going, I
actually
feel
remember
kinda dirty.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel real dirty about this, guys, because you just pretty much made me play matchmaker. And then at the end, they're like, oh, you should wait for the ceremony. It's like, do I really want to?
I don't want to see what I've done.
Yeah. What have I done? I erect the spine of procreation. Oh, that's dirty. Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt about.
Wait, do they actually say that?
That's what they say.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. No,
I
they
thought
erect the
that
spine
was
of
your
procreation.
joke.
No,
I know.
It's an in-game joke.
Yeah. As soon as he stands there, I erect the spine of procreation, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
ew.
And you can't even
Well, Nate would
slink
have
away
loved
because
that.
you just step in the swamp water.
Yeah, right. Well, you can't even slink away because then you don't get credit because then you're not close enough to actually hear the entire ceremony.
Right, and his juice is
God.
getting on everything. Gross.
Here's your reward. Why is it sticky? Yeah.
Oh no.
You think I'm joking, and
Yep.
that sad part is I'm not.
Yep. No, I remember those.
Yep. You think we're joking?
Well,
no.
it's
I wish.
gross.
Elder Scrolls, you know.
Yep.
and it
Not
do-
M-rated
does it-
for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes more subtle than others.
Didn't
Sometimes
we
I
already
think-
describe that? Well, oddly enough, didn't we say this like episodes ago where there is no happy ending in Elder Scrolls? It's either sad or sadder. Well, there was a happy ending at the end of this quest. Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Massage parlor Argonian joke.
You know, sometimes
I'm
making
really
a
sad
fem-
Promethean's not here. For this.
Right, he's missing all our Argonian band.
Yeah, like this is just wrong. He should be here for this whole thing.
This is the perfect episode to get him to sing. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Well, next episode we'll get him some good text
Yeah,
to read in
he'll
Argonian
listen.
voice.
He'll know. But yeah, that is kind of, you know, where I left off on it. And then what is the other thing? Oh, and I talked about this the last time, very briefly. But you know, we mentioned that it seems like they hide the DLC's information within. It's true because I did find a reference to Elsweyr, which is odd for Murkmire, right? Like, why would they do that? But when you're actually helping this guy called Hands That Heal, he's a healer, and when you ask him, it's like, I'm returning to Murkmire. My tribe was destroyed, so I kind of went on a giant journey because my family was gone. But now I miss the swamp, and I want to come back. So I'm trying to find a new tribe to be a part of. And that's kind of where this whole story starts, is you're helping him rejoin the Bright Throats. But when you do, at the end, you have the option of going, so where were you all these years? And he goes, I've spent the last 20 years in Elsweyr. And, you know, it's like, why would the Argonian be in Elsweyr? But knowing now that we went to Elsweyr, that was kind of their little nod of,
Yep, I totally did not remember that until you mentioned it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of was a thing, wasn't it?
Yep.
What is the
was a
lifespan
thing.
of Argonians?
That's a good point.
Every race actually has about the same lifespan minus the elves.
Yeah, and theirs isn't
all right.
freakishly long without intervention. It's just longer.
No, 300 years is essentially the max an elf can live.
Yeah, and you're
according
old
to
as
Lore
hell.
Master shit. Yeah, you were
Okay.
ancient. Not many people hit that. Any longer than 300 years, they've had magical intervention because there's no way an elf can live longer than 300 years. Khajiit and Argonians live similar to humans, roughly about 90 to 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But again, they're ancient by the time they hit, 90 years.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you're not spry young chicken at 90 years. You would be like a 90-year-old human at that point. So, but almost all the races share the same human lifespan minus the elves. And I think they said that the average lifespan for an elf is like 200, 220 years, with some being able to push to 300, but then they are venerably old. So,
Right.
practically senile. That whole, yeah. I mean, all elves are essentially that way, but yeah. No, it was just neat. Like, I know I don't have a lot of tales in that, but I was trying to get through my Murkmire, and I actually, like I said, the procreation quest was weird, but
But it made for a good tales.
It did. It really did. And now you really do know. I know you haven't done Murkmire, but it's right outside of, kind of to the northwest. There's like a little canopy of huts. I now encourage you, Ark, just to go do that quest, because they legitly say I erect the spine of procreation.
I'm not gonna go back to Murkmire at all.
You have to do
Never.
it just to get a soundbite for the show. Yeah.
Oh.
I just want that. Yeah, that'll be all our interlude section.
That goes for anyone who listens to this. We want that as a soundbite. So if you can go record that and send us the sound clip, love you forever.
But last time I went to Murkmire, I ended up in some not cool liquidy.
Oh yeah,
Places.
you went into the toilet.
Yeah, don't you remember?
This house is so nice. You just flushed yourself.
I went into a temple, right? These people are like, okay, you gotta find the lost artifacts or whatever the hell Argonians have, and then I go into a temple. I survive like poison, clouds, spike traps, creatures, whatever, all kinds of things. It's a messed up place.
Yeah.
And then there's like this pit around a like monolith or whatever. So like there's a square hole around it, and in the center there's a monolith. And I'm like, okay, is this something important? Because it looks like a monolith. So I jump.
It's very important sometimes. I mean, hey, when I got to rush, it's the most important building in the room.
It's like dirt, you know, it's like ground. And I'm like, why is this thing digged below the surface? Because it looks just like the ground. It's just like solid. And then I jump in there so I can run to the center. But instead I just sink into a friggin' brown liquidy mushy thing.
Go on.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I just ran away and never returned to Murkmire.
Could you imagine if
That was the end of your Murkmire experience.
Could you imagine if Murkmire had like smell-o-vision?
What vision?
Oh, we're in our. Definitely tell where Ark's been.
Yeah, so I'm not returning to Murkmire ever again. That's done for me.
The fresh
I don't care
Murkmire
about their
must.
story. I don't care about their artifacts, whatever.
They don't even care about their artifacts. That's the worst part.
I know.
Yeah.
I find that very funny that they're just like, why do you people care about our old junk?
Yeah, it's like we go find these things. Like, hey, we found this for you. Well, I threw that away like 200 years ago. Yeah.
It's like, no, we just worry about what's happening now. It's like our past doesn't matter. It's like, oh, all right then.
It's made out of solid gold. Oh, well, I threw that away. It was no good. Ew, you touched that? You know how long that's been sitting in the swamp? Yeah, like, no, tell me.
So yeah. All right, Lotus.
All right.
Tell us
Let's
about
see if
your
I can
tales.
go through this quickly, as like you mentioned, the sun is rising, and
No,
also
it's okay.
we have
This time I slept.
Oh, well, fair enough, but we have been going for a while, so I won't belabor
let me
points for
see.
too long.
So we are at 2 hours 10 minutes mark, including the pre-show.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I kind of have 3 different games that I can overview. Start with the current hype trend of Elsweyr. I completed Sunspire right after the show last week. I believe I did it on Saturday with the Lore Seekers.
Mhm.
Cruised through it. A lot of fun. Visually very cool. I'm excited to do that a few more times so that I can start working on like the vet hard mode beatings and everything. That trial is really cool.
Did you do it
I
on
like
veteran or normal?
We just ran through it on normal so that I could see what we're up against. And I think I might just be going from normal to vet hard mode as opposed to vet, period. Because if we clear something, I'd rather get my teeth pounded in right out the gate, because you have to do both other vet hard modes to get the final hard mode, if I understand correctly. So I figure, why practice on a lesser thing to then have to then kind of learn the fights?
Yeah.
So I think I might just... this is also going to take a while, but I also will go through on normal just to keep, any mechanics. If people are running, I'll just kind of run it, because I really like that trial, both visually, and it's just fun. It's not overly chaotic, like some of the +2s or +3s.
I haven't seen any of them yet.
Yeah, they can get the Cloud Res +3. I haven't done Vet Cloud Res +3, but like normal +3. Or
I think I've did the normal +3 on Cloud Res. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just there's just so much happening. I mean, plus, I feel like I've done Vet +2 is as high as I've gone, but it's chaos. Like there's 1,000 things happening at the same time. But like, yeah. So I don't know. I liked the pacing of it. It definitely does. I understand how it was based very much on the Mav Lorcage style of progression, which I'm okay with, because I felt Hollows of Fabrication was too much. And
see, I love that.
And that one was too long for me. Like, too many mechanics, too much health, too long. But then the boss rush trials, okay, those are neat, but they're short. Like, like, this I feel is a good happy medium. It reminds me of the Mav Lorcage, and it reminds me of the first couple of times you go through the Cragworn trials.
Right.
Before people learn to just nuke the hell out of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
So it feels much more like that. A trial, you're in there for a little while, it's fun, there's mechanics, there's trash mobs, but it's not a slog. So I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was very well done. And then the only other thing, other than just exploring and leveling up my Stam Necromancer while running Orcrest, I believe it's called Orcrest, one of the public dungeons, the one with Periate. I have the video. I need to clip it so I can post it to Twitter, just because I said I was going to try this. The dragon fights in the overworld are really cool. I like them a lot. They look awesome. They need to hit harder. They need to hit a lot harder.
Yes.
I like where the health is at, because they take a while for a team to take down, and they like land on scenery out in the field and stuff. I said I was going to give it a kiss. Well, there isn't a kiss emote. So I changed it up, and I did the point emote, and I booped it in the face. And it shouted, ironically, at the same time, and hurled me against a wall for 20,000 damage, which is completely forgettable. And I was like, oh. So then I went up and just started like standing next to it while it was attacking. And I mean, it straight up can't kill me.
But you are on your pure tank build at this point, yeah?
What's that?
Are you on your pure tank build at that point?
I basically was in my quote-unquote dungeon build, so to speak.
Right.
Which I was just kind of like, oh, like I would like it to hit much, much harder. Just because there's so many of us out in the field, it's just, if I'm not blocking, I feel like I should be punished harder than I am.
Oh wait, you are not blocking.
I like where the health is at. The fight takes a little while, which is cool. I just wish there was more death.
So wait, it doesn't kill you, and you are not blocking. So
no, it does like half my health.
What?
I was doing an emote to poke it in the face.
In my opinion, the damage is somewhat alright. I mean, it's okay to not die as a full-on full tank.
No, I agree with that.
But because there are a lot of people fighting it, they always keep respawning. So a group dies, they respawn. While they respawn, the other group dies. So the fight never resets. So there's never really a problem of, oh my god, it's gonna reset. Because there are so many people. So, in my opinion, they need to make a lot more AoE attacks so a lot more people die at the same time.
I could be okay with that, like spread out the damage to a lot of people.
And the way to avoid resetting the fight would be the tanks there. Because at the moment, a tank there really doesn't do anything. Like, you just stand there, you taunt it, but it's okay, it does AoE attacks anyway, so you taunting it doesn't really change much. You're not dying, you're not doing damage either. So you basically just stand there while people around you just drop like flies and keep respawning.
I guess this is kind of the point, actually. The Von Jamesteins kind of pointed out the fact it's like the Sunspire ones, like on Vet Sunspire, one of them apparently has a 90k wing swipe, which I'm like, if you can wipe in a trial a lot easier than you can wipe in an open field. Why aren't those set to the same type of difficulty? Because you can also have way more people than you can have in a. You could have 50, 60, 70 people attack a dragon out in the field. You can't attack a trial boss with more than 12. So I just think that would be neat if they were just that terrifying, where it's like, oh man, this is an event this dragon is dropping. Because they kind of are visually. I would just like them to just be like, because again, the ones in trials, it's like, oh, I have 100 million hit points. Well, this one has 16 out in the field. It's like, no, make those babies hard. Like, I don't know. That's just me personally. I would like them to be a little more terrifying, because I think the fights in the open field, the way they fly around, is super cool for boss fights.
Yeah. I mean, they are better than what I was worried. So I thought they would be a lot easier than this, considering the previous world events, and I was looking for a difficult world event. It's just still not there, because the panic is not there, you know? The feeling of, okay, we are fighting a dragon, wow, let's go, or the satisfaction of, alright, we finally killed the dragon, because I don't know if it was in does Guild Wars 2 have a dragon fight?
It does.
And people, like, massive amounts of people gather for it, right? To bring it down, if I remember correctly. So that's what I want. I want people to go in zone chat like, okay, the dragon is here, and we need people. Like, not just a couple people. We need people. We need, okay, bring 3 people so we can fight this dragon. That's the type of world event that I want.
The world agency you're looking for.
Yes, it's like some of the coordination when taking Keep Cyrodiil, except without all vitriol each other.
You are cutting off again, Lotus.
Really?
It's probably just him at this point.
Yeah, it might be me. Hold on.
Yeah, wanna drop and come back.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, the dragon fights need to feel epic. And if they don't feel epic, then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't not feel epic. Right, they can be better. Like, imagine that trailer we just saw. You know,
yeah, that trailer was awesome, right? Like, it looked awesome. Like, it made you feel epic just even watching it.
I mean, it's
some
true.
Boss fights, I don't feel like that's the case.
It's true. In the trailer, the dragon basically just threw that bone Goliath to the floor like it was nothing.
Right.
In the game, if I'm in my Bone Goliath ultimate, I am invulnerable to a dragon. It does nothing, it does hurts. So, see, the balance is not there. Make it more powerful, Zaz. Come on. Give us, or at least, I don't know. So keep this difficulty dragons for, you know, not everybody wants.
Right.
Like, there are people who play this casually and just want to enjoy a dragon fight. But make it like Skyrim, where it has different dragons. So people can fight a normal dragon, but if I want more difficulty, there can be, I don't know, a blood dragon, elder dragon, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So it appeals to us who wants to get punched in the face.
From that, though, I really do feel like I don't think everyone deserves. Yeah, I said it. To be able to do everything in a game. I'm sorry. There's just some things, you know, that if you're not good enough,
you have like a hard
level,
skill ceiling.
Yeah,
okay, but
can't do it. I mean, I'm not. There's things I can't do. Like, you know, that's not saying that I'm the best, because I'm far from that. You know, but I don't think that everyone, and they do have it in some areas. Like Emperor, not if you're a super casual player, you're not getting Emperor. Let's just face it. Like the time investment alone, you're not doing it.
Yeah. And that's not even a skill ceiling thing. That's just a dedication thing.
Sure.
I still consider myself mediocre at PvP.
Right.
Becoming Emperor didn't make me better at PvP. It made me better at farming AP and prove that I could stay up for a long time.
Which is why I'll never get it. I need to be in bed promptly. So.
But here's the thing, Acto. Like, the Blood Dragon ones can drop better loot, while the Easy Dragons would... Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, like, then why would you bother with a more difficult dragon in that case? I mean, I still would, because the fight is fun. I don't really care about the loot.
But some people don't play for that. They play for, whatever the reason would be, and it's not to, be challenged in any way. No? I don't know. I just feel like that's... But you also have to remember, Emperor was done back when the game was still, quote-unquote, more hardcore MMO-like than what it is now, right?
Right. I actually don't know.
Well, that's where an Emperor was first introduced. I mean, it was part of the base game, and you have your champion level.
Well, was ESO ever a hardcore game, though?
It definitely required
more so at launch.
Early on.
More so at launch.
Like Craglorn, you legitly could not do without a party of 4 people.
True.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just kind of my take. Is I would like them to be a little more brutal.
Sure.
Just for me personally, because I like where their health is at. I mean, if they want to give them more health, that's also fine. But I mean, I find that they do take a little while to kill, at least with groups of, like, I think it was 6, 8, 10 people generally fighting them when I was with them. It takes a couple minutes. Like, that's cool. Like, that's no big deal. It's just like, I don't know. I liked the idea of, we had some casualties, but it was just like, I don't know. The threat of death going up would be just kind of neat. Because like you say, you can come right back. It's not even like an elimination. Yeah. Because in a trial you wipe, it's like you can hard get stopped. You can't hard get stopped against a world boss, really.
Yeah. Like everybody has to die.
Can you imagine if they added a mechanic to world bosses where after so many deaths, like the trial deaths, only 100 deaths can happen on this, or else you all lose and it flies away? Or
I would like that.
Yeah, you have like a 40-minute window to kill this thing, otherwise it just bails.
Yeah,
I would like that.
I would like it, but could we talked about vitriol earlier. Could you imagine the vitriol in that particular case if the casual scrubs died and then caused people not to be able to kill it because
there's that.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, is you kind of skip that line. Is like, okay, is everybody just get frustrated and bailed? Or the experienced people, I mean, luckily most of the experienced people, not most, but a large portion of the experienced people, because this community is positive, would probably be trying to help people. But it's like, I've been in zone fights where somebody's like, that's not how you tank. And people in zone chat will be like, why are you telling the Emperor tank how not to tank? Like, your CP like 210. Like, what are you doing? Like,
right.
And I'm like, there's plenty of ways to do things, but don't tell me how to play.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess the best way to do it would be just disable respawning in world like dragon fights. That's it. Like, make it like dungeons or trials. Somebody has to revive you, and that alone would actually affect the playstyle of that world event in a much better way, in my opinion. Like, it would actually make it difficult.
I could see that, but then what if no one ever reses you? Like, do you just have to wait the 40 minutes till the boss is dead? Or
good point.
Yeah, that could have an unintended side effect.
I mean, I would legitly never res Ark. I'd sit there and just like look at him.
See, that's why this is the difference between you and I. I tease you, but I always res you. You just leave me laying down on the ground.
Hey,
that's why you can never be a tank.
I saw what you did on your live stream to the guy who disagreed with you.
Hey, he told me, he said Alt Mary thinks to me. That's punishable by death. End of thing. Like, I don't care. I would do it to you, I would do it to Lotus. Although Lotus wouldn't die, because unlike you, he's actually a good tank.
Oh,
Oh, snap.
burn.
What else, Lotus?
Yeah,
Shame
so that
you gave
was...
up your Dragon Knight, who actually has fire abilities.
That was pretty much all I've done with Elsweyr was that. So I figure one of the things I can address, because I started playing around with it, as everybody who saw BE3 noticed, Blades got a ton of stuff added to it. I assume that Blades will be coming out of early access when it hits the Switch. Otherwise, they're milking the early access garbage. But I now understand why they were referring to it as early access.
Mm-hmm.
It is really different after that update. The NPCs all have voices now.
Oh.
Which I was quite impressed with. They added an entire new quest line, which I have not started yet. I've been messing around a little bit. I haven't decided to go right into it. The layout of the HUD is kind of streamlined a bit. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
My gripe about the difficulty being that it got way too easy. Well, they changed it so you can now... Skulls are now accurate to difficulty level, and you can basically pick harder ones to get more experience, which was exactly my problem before. So I'm glad they at least gave people the option to do harder stuff for more experience. Mm-hmm. They added jewelry. Jewelry seems really powerful because it directly impacts your skills. So I stacked a whole bunch of health ones, and so I regenerate health faster than things can like hit me, but that's fine. That'll probably get fixed. So generally good stuff, except for one thing where you asked, did they optimize it anymore? And the answer is a resounding no. Mine crashes constantly now.
I was logging in just to check that as we speak.
No, constant crashing. Just hard crashes now.
I can't even log in.
Yeah,
Login button
it's way
doesn't
less
do anything.
So they're going to need to address that. When I'm playing, it runs the same, but I've had things where it's like, I'm going to open this chest, game crash. I'm just like, oh, good lord. It's like, all right,
yeah,
well,
that's
that needs to work. Yeah, so if that was a reason that you were trying to go back, yeah, not yet. Not yet. And then the final thing that I did, which I had some stuff posted, and I can post some more stuff because I figure I wanted to stream this or show video of this. It's not going to happen. Shadowkey and the N-Gage is not a cooperative creature.
Yeah.
But I have been playing Shadowkey in the mornings before work when I'm vegging out on the couch, try to wake up with my puppy. So she'll sit on the edge of the couch and just kind of snuggle. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have anything to do. I was playing Blades. I was like, I've got my N-Gage. I'll play right here. Perfect. So I beat the first dungeon, which was Delfrin's hideout. I've been calling him Delsum, just like the cough syrup. And he apparently was the guy who had the rats come ransack the village as with his pirate dudes or his bandits. And for some reason, this random bandit guy has a shadow gate in his base, which I didn't quite understand. So I posted the picture of it as a joke, saying, I wish I had a shadow key. 3 rooms later, I found the shadow key, and I was like, okay, well, it was just on him, basically. And it's like, this is Delfrin's shadow key. It's even labeled. I'm like, so do lots of people have shadow keys? Like, apparently these things aren't that rare, I guess.
You get a shadow key, and you get a shadow key, but no one gets N-Gages. So
no.
Yeah.
So what's more awkward is when you take the shadow key, I'm figuring, okay, the shadow key, it looks pretty cool. I don't know what the deal is with it. And it's got a shadow gate. I wonder if this guy's got some dark magic. You go through it, gives you this thing about like, oh, things are weird here. Shadows are like, they feel wrong, but everything looks similar. It's a closet. It was one room in a hallway. It's a closet with a treasure chest in it. Why is that a shadow gate? Why isn't that just a closet door? Like, it was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever walked through. It wasn't even a quest item. It was just, I got a new sword. Like, that was it. I was like, okay. And there was some dude in there who was like, hey, usually Delsum comes in here himself to check stuff, which I do like that you have dialogue options, because my option was die, and I just stabbed the guy. I was like, great. That's exactly how I like to respond to people asking me reasonable questions. So yeah, the Shadow Key, going to the Shadow Gate, very underwhelming so far. And then the only other things, because that's as far as I got, I'm going back to town. I turned in the quest to the people that I saved from there. I saved my village and blah, blah, blah. So they're all going back. The only other stuff about Shadow Key up to the point where I got is kind of some of the bullet points that I've noticed. Turns out there are orcs in the game. You can save one, so they exist. The game knows there are Orsimer. But whatever reason, you just can't make an orc character, which is still weird to me that that's not an option.
Did it come out? When did it come out? Because Orsimer weren't even really a race until Morrowind.
At the very start. So this game came out basically around this time as Morrowind. Let's see if I can see a copyright. 2004.
Wait, that would be after Morrowind.
1 year after, 2 years after Morrowind. I believe it was 2002, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So there are Orsimer in the game, but they're not a choosable race, which is just peculiar to me.
I almost feel like Redguard was made by a different company. Hear me out.
Weird.
And then, like, they were contracted by a different company to make it. And then, you know, the other company was just a group of developers. And they're like, oh, yeah, here you go. Here's your game. Hey, where are the orcs? The what? You know?
Well, so it's kind of funny. I don't know. I know you're a music connoisseur, especially of Elder Scrolls stuff, Ag. Do you know the track from Morrowind called Peaceful Waters? It's track number 2.
Yep.
So that's my favorite Elder Scrolls song. And the first 30 seconds of it are on loop in Shadow Key. Just on a
There's no other music. There's
not that I've found yet.
Wow.
Which is super awkward.
I mean, I love it too, but only the first 30 seconds.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I was like, it might not be my favorite after.
Yeah, right.
I've been playing on mute just because I was like, I don't want to do this. So theoretically, there could be other songs, but I muted it before I got to that point because there's no voice dialogue. It's all type.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it plays very much like a crappy Morrowind. It's the roll to hit. The systems are very similar.
Oh, God.
But so, yeah, the orc thing I just thought was weird. And there are barrels and stuff that you can loot like any Elder Scrolls game. They all look exactly the same, whether you can loot them or not, except some are lootable, some aren't lootable. Okay, fine. Except they put quest items in them.
Oh, God.
Like mission critical quest items.
So you have to just go click every box and just...
And hope the word examine pops up above it.
Wow. Well, I mean, ESO technically does that.
It does.
But it's a little easier.
And they mark them if it's quest critical. I found the completion of one of the quests. It's like, you found a silver locket or whatever. And I found the lady who had the locket like way down the line. She's like, oh, blah, blah. I was like, I found that in a barrel with 3 little X's on it. Like, how like, I thought it was a bourbon barrel and apparently it had your quest item in it, lady. Like, oh, Lord. So that ought to make things interesting. And then the final thing that I will say about Shadow Key is the visuals in dungeons. I mean, the draw distance is comically short. And in dungeons, or specifically this one, they are so dark and so hard to see. I was getting attacked by things and just blindly swinging, hoping that I would hit sometimes. But, I mean, usually the character models will at least pop into view. But navigating, you know the old Doom-style 2D maps?
Yeah.
That's how I've had to navigate some of the dungeons because I literally can't see.
Oh god.
And I'm like, I don't know what's a hallway. I don't know what's a wall. I don't know what's a door. So I have to bring up the map and read the map as I walk, because luckily you can walk in map.
Oh, well, that's a
Yeah, but oh my lord. And I'm gonna post some screenshots after the show of how dark it is. A couple people I was talking to were like, well, how dark can it be? And they're like, that is just a sword in black. I was like, that is a hallway that I was walking down. It's like,
is it black? Is it a slightly darker shade of black?
So I hope that's unique to that
Archer
dungeon
reference.
because good lord. Yeah, it's good. Are my turtlenecks black, or is this one a darker shade of black? But yeah, so I still don't hate Shadowkey, but I am just as confused by Shadowkey as I was last week when I started Shadowkey because I still don't know what's happening in this game.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. The only thing I wanted to just mention, which I of course didn't put in the notes because I'm a mess, just because I didn't mention it last time, and a couple of people actually asked, was our poll from the previous week of wow, I have a lot of useless pictures in my phone. This is embarrassing to try to scale through and vamp for this one. There it is. So anyways, it related to the Daedric artifacts hitting Cyrodiil PvP, which I unfortunately have not had the chance to try. I really hope to actually get a chance to jump in this weekend.
I keep forgetting that exists.
Well, I've heard it's pretty underwhelming. It's supposedly like great against keeps and mediocre against people and NPCs, which is a little awkward.
Well, I think people get really I can understand why, because I think people get upset if they're not Emperor. Because let's face it, Emperor rolls face.
If you're beating an Emperor, which again you get a 50-point achievement if you can beat an Emperor, there's two things that happened. They are god awful, or they're not paying attention.
They're AFK.
Yeah,
and you would probably still lose. It's like, how did I lose?
You need to whittle them down before they come back to the keyboard or controller. So I liked the idea of something to combat them, but it's more of a thing to combat keeps. And I've also heard that a lot of times the Emperor group, someone else in the group, since the Emperor can't grab the artifact, someone in the Emp group will grab the artifact. So then they have the artifact and the Emp. And it's even worse.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, that's a thing, I guess. But so with those included, I decided to just have a quick Cyrodiil question because, again, I know that's not a huge portion of the population, but whether it was events or not, what is your preferred way to battle other players when you do PvP? Is it Battleground, Cyrodiil, or the final option was I've literally never played PvP?
I like to DDoS them, so they can't play at all, and then I win.
What? I guess that would be literally they've never played.
Yeah, they've never played.
But 37% of people apparently like Battlegrounds, and 44% prefer Cyrodiil. 19% saying they've never been involved. There's 71 people actually voted in it, which is a decent amount of people in a PvP setting since we're not a PvP-based thing.
Yep.
That surprises me. Like, I mean, I like both, but I prefer Cyrodiil.
Same. I prefer Cyrodiil.
Yeah. It's just kind of interesting that in the grand scheme of things, especially with my PvP guild, a lot of people seem to talk about liking Battlegrounds better because it's like, oh, well, you know, it's more skill based on individual performance, and that's not why I'm playing Cyrodiil. Like, because I've had people constantly do it if I leave the wrong title on, because usually I say I'm a master angler, so people don't harass me to 1v1 them, bro, in Cyrodiil because it says former emperor and they think I know what I'm doing. And I'm like,
I just had a long weekend and a lot of Red Bull. Okay,
yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, there's a war going on. Why do I care about 1v1ing you? I have 80 people in my group. I'm just going to steamroll you. Like, what? Why would I care? Like, you can be better than me all day, but if I win, I win. It doesn't like.
1v1 me, bro.
Battlegrounds.
Where's your imp buff?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, whereas Battlegrounds, I'm going in there knowing I need to try to outplay people, which has mixed results. It's, it is what it is. I win some, I lose some.
Yeah.
But it's a different mindset for me personally. It's like, okay, I'm doing small scale, just like competitive video gamey type of thing in Battlegrounds. Whereas Cyrodiil, it's like, no, this is fun. This is like I'm playing Braveheart with Magicka. That's fine. But that's what it is. And that's why people who are like, oh, Zerging is dumb. It's like, Zerging is how you used to win wars back then.
Yeah.
Like, the side with the most troops usually won.
Right. In order to do a siege, it was often said that you needed to have at least 3 times the amount of people that the other side had. Right. So that way you could guarantee your victory.
And that's totally fine if you don't find that fun. That's totally, that is what it is. But that was what that mode was more or less designed for. I just happen to like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
So, but so that's pretty much my recap from the week.
Nice.
All right.
So you want to 1v1 me, bro?
I do. Let's do this.
Do it. We both die, but we kill ourselves
we're both
somehow.
We just shield bash each other for 76 hours straight.
as you hit me, my health regenerates. And it's like, guys, we're gonna be here for a while.
One of us is gonna need to die of natural causes.
Fair.
Actually, I'm glad you put this in your networking on Nerd.
Yes.
Lotus, because I wanted to mention it, but go ahead.
Yep. All right.
That'll be the name of the episode.
We'll do this as a collaboration because I feel like you had a pretty good comment after this whole thing happened. But our networking on Nerd specifically is if you don't already follow the account, the Elder Memes, it is priceless. He is a great dude. He is really funny, and I don't know how he comes up with so many ridiculous things. I had the pleasure of meeting him at PAX East. I know he's been in all sorts of ridiculous pictures from BE3 and stuff like that. He's just a funny guy, and he doesn't do much like the content creation thing or anything like that, but he does have a Twitter. It's the Elder Memes. Very easy to find. Super ingrained. Between him and the main ESO account, they can get into some really funny back and forths, which are really funny to just read the feeds of them. But totally worth a look. And it also brings kind of the way the ESO fam as a whole is connected, as he is very much a part of the ESO fam. And there was quite a bit of controversy over the BE3 and the fans being too excited about things we like.
Front row, hype man, squad.
Yeah. So I would also like to just kind of include, since the Elder Memes himself is a huge part of the Elder Scrolls, the ESO fam, I'd like to just shout out everybody as part of our group. We always make note, and so do the other podcasts and the other streamers. We really do act like one kind of big doofy family of gamers with each other, which I don't know if it makes people who are not part of it uncomfortable or something.
Apparently it does a little bit.
Apparently it does.
Misery loves company. They're not happy with the games they're playing, and therefore no one else can be happy with anything. Didn't we already talk about that on the Dungeon Crawl?
Yeah, it's weird. It seems like a recurring trend.
This isn't, I don't like your game, it's therefore awful, so you shouldn't like it either.
Yes. So to everybody in the ESO fam, I personally was very amused by how hyped everybody was there, and I'm glad you guys all had fun. We're one big group of people who just enjoy games, because that's what they are. They're games. This is for fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not having fun, do something else. You don't need to try to make other people not have fun.
But they do. It's not the internet if they don't.
Exactly. So shout out to you guys for enjoying that so much and making that so entertaining. And if you ever see, I tried to make a point of it at PAX East. There's a reason we're all friends with each other online, because it's just fun to hang out. Don't be afraid to contact each other, whether you're new to Elder Scrolls, because apparently there's been 2.5 million more of you added to the horde. Don't be afraid to talk to us, any of us. Like, we have fun with this stuff, and you can too. So, like, it's not like a paid shill thing that we're excited about stuff. We all have our disagreements. We're probably the most notorious for having disagreements with.
I love how people. I've been getting complaints about being called a shilby as I do these shows. I'm like, I think I'm harder on the game than anyone because I'm passionate about it. I want it to do well.
Yeah, exactly. I would be delightful if I got a paycheck for being this amused by something.
I wish that any money that we would have ever gotten on this show would even equal to half of what I spent.
Yep, what you spend to produce it. Or
not even to produce it. I'm just talking about what I've spent on their cash shop.
Yeah, like, so that's just it. So if you're new, welcome. Enjoy, because the rest of us do too. You don't need to like everything about it. Nobody does. You don't need to just white knight things. But it's fun. It's fun, and there's probably something here for you. And, in a non-literal shouting way, I appreciate all the shouting at the E3. So this is kind of your shout out to the rest of the family.
But that was well put. I mean, when I first watched the show, Bethesda conference, I was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, that's gotta be Mike Finnegan. And it turns out one of them was Mike Finnegan.
One of them was.
Because who else is louder than Mike Finnegan, the dungeon lead?
One
of them was Elder Memes, obviously.
Few people, and they were like, you know them, don't you? I was like, why would you say that? They were like, well, one, you know a lot of people in this group, and you totally know them, don't you? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know everybody that's yelling right now. So, yeah, it's just...
I was happy, and then I saw comments from verified Twitter account, partner Twitch streamers, things like that popped up in my newsfeed, and it was like, everybody was calling them, who are not part of ESO fan, by the way, these people are, obviously. They were like, Bethesda paid people to scream, blah, blah, things like that. I'm like, you are not part of this, you are not aware.
You don't understand.
Of how we roll.
This.
Yeah, you don't understand this. I mean, this is not a paid whatever. It's like I got frustrated.
It's fun
to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They have enough, and it's not even sometimes about what they make. It's just the excitement of being included, because the devs do include stuff. And one of the big things that I actually heard, I forget which podcast, is probably IGN or something. Because I just listened to a variety of random stuff, and there were a couple comments about how the Elsweyr trailer, they were like, there's apparently a lot of people that, they have their big community with Elder Scrolls Online, and it keeps growing. But they were like, man, that trailer, it didn't really tell me all that much, and it was really long. And all I was thinking of was like, they didn't make that for you.
Yeah,
they made that for us who are already here. That wasn't for you. So, I mean, if you would like to join,
if you haven't
just
followed
watch the rest, it makes sense.
If you haven't followed the game for years, you wouldn't know what's going on. Like, who is that Breton guy? Who is Abnur Tarn? But we know all of them. We know those guys.
Yes, and that's just it. They made that for people who are already part of the game. It's ironic that it's almost like this isn't a selling point so much for new people as reassuring the people who are already playing, there's lots of new stuff and you should keep enjoying this, which is an interesting marketing tactic, but it's working because it keeps growing and people are overall happy. So, there you go.
So, it's just that Front Row Hype Man Squad, Be happy. Don't care about what people are saying. We love you, and if we were there, we would be screaming as well.
Exactly.
I
was entertained.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying, it wasn't about the games. It was about, at least from what I've seen, or if I was there, it's being there. Like Commander Keen, I have no idea what Commander Keen is, and I don't play games on mobile. I don't care. Right. I absolutely have zero care for Commander Keen, but I don't care. I would be yelling my lung out as well, because I'm there, and like I see, I don't know, Lore Seeker Cash screaming there. Why would I stay silent? I mean, it's about that.
Excitement and fun is infectious. So.
Oh yeah. All right, so that brings us to the end of the show at 2 hours and 50 minutes mark.
Good lord, this is like an old school show.
Yeah. This was good. This was a good one. See, we can go on when I'm not dying, apparently.
When you're not deceased.
Raised by a necromancer on Love Magica. That's my thing to go from now on.
We've been crafting the story all along, and we didn't even realize it.
All right, well, Ag, where can people find you?
You can follow. Well, here,
he was so focused on something. What were you focused on?
Just right here.
This is the only place I do stuff. So, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter too, which is Aggelos_DCN. All
right. Well, Lotus, where can people find you and your extra life?
So I am Lotus of Doom on Twitter. You'll usually see me posting. I got a pretty funny comment the other day of "I see you on everything," and that is accurate because lately I've been having trouble focusing when I'm at work, and I own my own business, so getting distracted is nobody's going to yell at me because it's me. So I need to get better at that. But yeah, I tend to be on Twitter a whole bunch. Lotus of Doom on Discord, which is apparently a thing I mess around with now. And I'm Lotus of Doom on Twitch, where I stream hopefully a little more regularly, so I can start getting in the flow of things for Extra Life toward the end of the year. But the only difference is the O in the letter in the word of is a 0. But it's just Lotus of Doom, and you just add a 0 in the middle, and that's how you spell it. But I'll have a charity marathon with more details as it gets closer. But hopefully I can get a better grasp on at least somewhat of a streaming schedule going forward now that house construction is done pretty much for the year. So.
Did they not give you Lotus of Doom? Did it have to be 0?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Every other... So I can literally do any other variant. I just can't have my exact name.
iTunes isn't that way either.
I know. I actually forgot that I have my iTunes as kind of neutral. It's just Lotus OD, which is funny because I never see myself on like my own thing. So it's like, I never even realized that. But yeah, I'm not sure why they're... what the deal is with it just being blocked. It's not even like a former account. It says it's invalid. I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna ask Mika when she returns from.
Yeah,
from
I would
E3,
love an answer, just out of curiosity. At least it visually looks correct now.
Well, you can follow me at twitch.tv/Arkhaniir or twitter.com/Arkhaniir, or you can send me an email at arkhaniir@gmail.com. That is ARKHANIIR. And you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you so much for joining on this episode of Tales of Tamriel, and we'll see you next week. Have a great night or day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark, down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimerical. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer. When elves lost nerve to like a dark shot gave the stark down to say in Alesh and token. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red strong. Red diamond, wild elves cut and polished it down to chimerical. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.